Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live show for this Monday after the first week of free agency. And we're going to get all into the money, all into why we don't have any money, all into if we're going to have money in the future. So we're going into all of that, but first, before we do that, let me do my ritual of sending things out. I love that this live stream is on my channel like immediately. It's on the homepage, so everybody knows to go there, and then there is the chat there at the homepage. So let me show you. Let me go here because it should be up now. Refresh. Boom. Let's refresh again. It's working over here, but it's not working there. For what reason, I didn't know. Let's see. Maybe it's not on the homepage. It's live now, of course. All right, there's a picture. Now, is that better? Hello? I think I caught it doing this feedback thing again. There we go. Did I fix it this time, Dave 10 Eagle? It happened again. As soon as I put the desktop on, it went into the echo thing. But I think I figured out how to stop that, so that would be absolutely perfect. All right, now let me send this out to everyone. Share it, rather. Twitter folk. Shango Live. Go ahead and hit me with any questions, non-salary cap questions though. Any questions about anything while I'm doing this, and I'll come back and I'll answer those questions during this starting period. All right, let me Facebook it. Shango talks salary cap this morning. Bam. Let's refresh this. Five new comments. Good on sound. Yes, good on sound. Yeah, that's an awful noise. It is an awful noise. I can't hear it on this end, but the last time it happened, during that show, it happened for like 20 minutes because I was just going off on a rant and couldn't hear that noise. But when I heard it in the recorded version, it was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. So what's up, everyone? El Shadu, what's up? Slogar One, What's our Sluger one? What's up, Dave? Thanks for the feedback. Tashiro, how's it going? We got 5 new people. Daniel, am I live streaming the draft? Oh yeah, 38 days away. Oh yeah. I am definitely doing the draft. Let me get my face back in here. Dave Tinengle, do I think it was a good idea to sign Spencer to a 1-year deal? I don't think everything that I've come across so far with the as far as my thinking with the Spencer deal, it's an expensive thing. I think I read on the Cowboys Zone where they got the Seahawks got Averill and Bennett, less than Spencer. So they got 2 defensive ends for the price of Spencer. And, and Averill had 14 sacks last year. So, value-wise, that way, it's going to be tough. But if we're going to have any kind of chance on defense this year, we're going to have to man up with the best players we can. And Spencer would be one of the best players we could, even though that tag is at $10 million. However, it just depends on if we're going to sign him for the future. We don't know if he fits the 4-3 perfectly. We don't know if he's going to give another outstanding season like he did last year. So maybe it's best to just put him on the books for that this season, and then next year we'll find out, whether we just let him walk or whatnot. But the Spencer thing, it could go any way, and I don't see. It's not a bad. Anywhere you go, it's not a bad decision unless you sign him to a long-term deal and he reverts back to not being able to do anything on his side of the field. And I don't think that. I think he's gonna at least be a solid player. We might end up having to pay him too much, but I don't see any problem in all the salary cap stuff I did, and we'll get into that. I don't see any real major problem with Spencer because there's a way out of it in a year. A lot of stuff on that salary cap, there's not a way out of it in a year's time. All right. I'm gonna look and see if there's one more question, and then I'm just gonna go into the free agent signings and keys. I'm going to set my comments to update automatically, but it's not updating you guys for some reason. Now it went back. So, all right, let's go over to the NFL free agent tracker, and let's just go piece by piece on what actually happened when we were standing pat doing nothing, and who went where, and how it affects the Cowboys, or just how it affects the landscape of the NFL. Top of the list right here. Let me bring the screen on. Jake Long agreed with the Rams. Jake Long, I don't think there was that much interest in Jake Long other than the Rams and the Dolphins. They talked my man Jake down big time this year. Like he slipped seriously, and maybe he did, maybe he didn't. All I know in my mind is Jake Long's a beast. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he can come back to being a beast. I know they're happy. I know Bradford's happy in St. Louis. But if he is not the player that we thought he was in the draft, then the Rams just paid a whole lot of money for and just a barely above average player. Josh Cribbs, we were once interested in Cribbs right here, but now I don't think it's going to happen with our low cap space. But I think Arizona is where he's going to end up. Kevin Burnett, former Cowboy, is at the Raiders. I know a lot of people suggested he comes back to the Cowboys, but nope, not going to happen. Brett Grimes, 2 very good options for him going to Miami. I like what Miami do. We'll go through all the Miami moves. I like what Miami's doing, and And I'm going to be looking at that team and see what they do in the future. But Joe Hayden needs a partner in Cleveland. Maybe they draft Milliner. Maybe they get Grimes or whatever. But the Patriots signed the tackle, Will Svidik, or whatever you say. I saw this morning, the Ahmad Bradshaw, and this could affect a lot of stuff with us. With him possibly going to the Green Bay Packers, because the Packers just need a good running back. And Ahmad Bradshaw, he gets hurt a little, but he's a very good running back. And now he's got a little something to prove since the Giants. He's not with the Giants anymore. So I see him going to Green Bay being a serious problem. I would like, if he's going somewhere, I would like for him to go over to Pittsburgh so he can cause trouble in the AFC. But if he goes to Pittsburgh, they're going to really, really utilize him. And with Mendenhall gone, they really need a running back there. You have Charles Woodson, a plethora of teams are interested in Charles Woodson. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know how much gas he has in the tank. I know we can't afford him, but he would be kind of nice. But if he was in Dallas, it would be merely as a stopgap in hopes that we can find some young talent somewhere to take over from him later. Elvis Doomerville. I'm getting to Doomerville. NJTK 1000. He asked what are my thoughts on Doomerville, the fax blunder. That's just kind of. I know you have to meet deadlines and things of that sort, but when it's an agreement like that, because he agreed to the contract, and it was like 6 minutes late. If there was agreement, I think the NFL should allow that to happen, since there was a fax issue or whatever. I think there should be at least a 30-minute window there where you can let some stuff happen, especially in this age of technology. And I know, because I'm trying to do all this and we have technical failure constantly. But things just happen. So I just think that's kind of messed up by the NFL. They should have just let it go and moved on. But now, he's open, and Pittsburgh's looking at him to replace Harrison. The Ravens are looking at. I mean, he's a hot commodity. Maybe it was best for Doomerville. Maybe it was a ploy. I don't know what it was, but right now Doomerville has a lot of interest, and maybe he could get a little bit of money, because that contract that the fax blunder was a, if I'm not wrong, was a not a restructure, renegotiation, where he was taking a pay cut. So we'll see what happens. I think they got a offer with Denver that's up, that he can go back there. So that's just a weird situation. To me, it seems like the NFL should have cleaned that up. But maybe it might work out for Elvis. Stream is what? Sluger? Stream is KO'd. What happened? I still have it live over here. Are y'all okay? I still have the stream up. I'm waiting on y'all. Oh, it's all good? Okay. See what I'm saying about technology? See, right on cue, stuff just happens. And you saw my hands up. I was just talking. I didn't touch anything. So, anybody else tired of hearing about the Jets? Yeah. And Sluger is still having problems. He needs to refresh. Everybody, if you just have a problem, just refresh the site or whatever, because it's probably just like a connection issue with YouTube and your internet or whatever like that. So just refresh. Okay, now let me get back to the names. Courtney Roby, he's still playing. I didn't know that. Emmanuel Sanders, I think it's a restricted free agent. Yeah, Sanders is making a rare restricted free agent visit to the New England Patriots. So the Patriots are interested in him, and I know he's happy. Anybody's happy that the potential of having Tom Brady throw to him, and he could be a definite plus for the Patriots because he can give them an outside threat. Brandon Myers, this is Marty B's replacement in New York. He was signed. Nnamdi, this is interesting, and it looks like almost all the teams except for Houston, sans Houston, are in the NFC, and it could be a significant addition. I don't think. First of all, let me make myself big so you can hear me, because a lot of people won't hear this. And let me put my name here so you'll know who's saying this. I don't think Nnamdi was as good in free agency when he was in free. I think, of course, how free agency is, it blows people up. I don't think Nnamdi was as good as he was touted in free agency, simply because he was going against AFC West quarterbacks, and at that time was not very good. So I don't think he was as good as he was touted during free agency. And then I know he got high Madden ratings, he got high ratings everywhere, everybody was all high on him, but I just don't think he was as good as people made him out to be during free agency. However, I do not think Nnamdi was as bad as people made him out to be when he played with the Eagles. I think the problems mainly with the Eagles were scheme related. I mean, an offensive line coach being made your defensive coordinator, then you had turnover with defensive coordinators here and there, and you never had any kind of scheme stability over there. You had them playing wrong. So the Eagles did a lot of stuff. With that dream team thing the Eagles did, they did a lot of stuff wrong, and I think they're trying to clean it up now, whatever. But I just don't think Nnamdi is as bad of a player as people are trying to make him out to be right now. So, with that being said, two of those teams up there are very interesting. One, San Francisco 49ers. Case of the rich get richer. They've got a quarterback that's young, under the cap, so they can spend a lot of money in other places. So San Francisco is a very scary place for Nnamdi Asomugha to go. Number two, you have, let me bring it back up so you can see it. The New Orleans Saints. You have Rob Ryan there, who needs a corner that does exactly what Nnamdi does. So that would be an interesting combination, because if the Saints get their coach back and have a little bit of defense, have some sort of defense over there, then they're pretty formidable squad. I mean, didn't they beat us last year without it? So that is a very interesting thing. Houston is there. Hopefully he goes to Houston and Wade, and he can stay over there in the AFC and cause trouble. And then the Cardinals, him and Patrick Peterson, that'd be that's a pretty stout combination there. All right, let's get off of Nnamdi. We talked about Nnamdi a couple of years ago too much. Let's not talk about him anymore. Done with you, dog. Craig Dahl for San Francisco signed because they lost their safety. They don't have to use him or draft one. Cal Arrington re-signed with the Patriots. Brandon Lloyd, poor Brandon Lloyd, got released by the Patriots, and nobody seems to be interested. There's a big blank spot. I'm checking out. There's a lot of comments here. Let me check out your comments. Woo, jeez, y'all are hitting me with it. Keith said he believes that Cowboys drove the price up on Nnamdi last minute. Yeah, they did. But the Eagles had a smart contract. I mean, they got rid of him and still could have movement, you know? All right, cool. I'm glad that everybody's here and back and everything. All right, Bernard Pollard, a person that I was kind of interested in. He's being looked at by the Titans. I don't think we could come close to being able to afford him anyway. And I don't know if he fits us that much if we've got Church there. Lewis Murphy, he's a new Giant, so we'll be seeing a lot of him. Aqib Talib, big signing for the Patriots. He's only signed for a year, so the Patriots gave him, okay, you do great. You tote the company line. You don't get any trouble. You produce on the field, and then next year you'll get a big contract. Which is, I mean, who wouldn't want to stay with the Patriots as a professional NFL football player? Greg Jennings went to the Vikings, and gosh, to me, in my opinion, with that one, with Greg Jennings going to the Vikings, Percy Harvin was a much bigger weapon than Greg Jennings by far. But Greg Jennings is a wide receiver that can keep the chains moving. And that's all you need. You need somebody that's going to catch that ball, get that first down, and allow you to give that ball back to that big horse you got back there. So I think that's a very interesting signing, along with, I'll get to them sooner or later, along with some more that the Vikings did, but the Vikings impressed me a little bit. The Patriots get Adrian Wilson, a strong safety, another strong safety flying around. There's a lot of safeties flying around, and we have no money, but there's a lot of them, and we have Barry Church and Matt Johnson slated as our starters right now. Tony Gonzalez came back for one more year. Good for him. The Ed Reed sweepstakes is still going. It's basically between Houston and Baltimore. Baltimore is giving their last pitch offer or whatever. But it's up to Ed Reed whether he wants to finish his career out in Baltimore or move to Houston. John Abraham, defensive end. I think he'll probably end up in Denver or somewhere if they lose Elvis or whatnot. But the Patriots are interested in him. Kevin Cobb, who cares about having Kevin Cobb? This is interesting. James Harrison goes to Baltimore. I would love to watch those games. Dwight Freeney is interesting. It looks like the Patriots just looking at defensive ends. Victor Butler is still being looked at by the Jets. And Jason Campbell is being looked at by people. Wow. But this is not everybody. There's been some more big names moving. Okay, well, I'll just have to use my memory or go by. I know what I can go by. Hold on. The divisional standings and go to the team. The New England, the Patriots, the Welker situation of them losing Wes Welker and then gaining Danny Amendola. I don't think they're gonna miss too much. If you followed me for a long time, Shango has been a big fan of Danny Amendola and wanted him to make the team, bad in 2007. But he went to New England Patriots. He's a bigger but younger version of Welker, and I think he can be almost as good in that system with Tom Brady at quarterback. So I think that the Patriots made a smart move. I mean, everybody's up in arms. The Patriots messed up or whatever. All they had to do was pay him. But I think the Patriots know what they're doing. Yeah, that's the least of my worries. Next to Miami Dolphins, all those signings. Miami made a lot of moves. And conventional wisdom and my wisdom is you can't make all those moves and expect to be good in free agency. However, if you make smart moves, it's different than like what Philadelphia did. Philadelphia went off with big names, big contracts, and tried to put together a dream team, and that just doesn't work in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins are getting players that it seems to me, watching Philbin on Hard Knocks and the way he was tough on those players and the way he cut out questionable players and things of that sort, I think the Miami Dolphins might be a little bit on to something here. Keith, could we see Romo restructure today or tomorrow? I just looked at your comment. Man, hopefully, but we'll get into that. We'll get to that in just a minute. Jets, I don't want to talk about the Jets. Bills, don't want to talk about the Bills other than the fact that they need a quarterback. The Ravens, the Flacco deal. I don't want Romo's deal to do what the Flacco deal is doing to Baltimore. This is the reason. Baltimore has a good front office, probably one of the best GMs in the game with Ozzie Newsome. So when they lost Ellerby, when they lost I can't think of my man's name, it just slipped my mind again. 99. When they lost their two outside linebackers and and Bolden, it was like, whoa, what are they doing? But you forget they drafted an outside linebacker in the draft last year, second round. Was it early second round? I think it was number 33. But they got a linebacker in the draft last year, and they got some other guys that can. Kruger is the name I was looking for, but they've got people in place that they know in their organization that can play the position. So they knew not to give these guys too much money, and they knew that they were going to get too much money in free agency. So I think they know what they're doing. On our end, we haven't been drafting well. So if the Romo contract takes up so much of our cap space, then we won't have the back end like Baltimore has to fill those positions like immediately. So I don't know what would happen to us, but I just don't want the Romo deal to do what the Flacco deal is doing to the Ravens. Cincinnati, nothing. Pittsburgh, nothing. Houston, nothing. No big news. Denver, the big news in Denver is Wes Welker, which I think is absolutely enormous. You add Wes Welker to that offense, and that's the big, excuse my language, but that's the most perfect FU to Belichick that he could ever do. So that was the big move, and then Kansas City made some nice moves, especially adding Sean Smith, the cornerback. Kruger was a product of the system. He won't be the same in Cleveland. Yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens make people play within their system, and it works for them. Daniel, I do think they overpaid Mike Wallace, and I don't think Mike Wallace is that good of a wide receiver. You're absolutely right, Daniel. I don't know. I mean, Philbin was very critical on Chad and the wide receivers that were there, so maybe they know. Of course, they know more than me, but in my opinion, I'm right with you. I think they overpaid for Mike Wallace. The Redskins are cap strapped like us. The Giant, but there's no more D'Angelo Hall. Yay! Just because we don't like him. The Giants, they're losing. People lost Kenny Phillips, but we don't lose Kenny Phillips because he goes to Philadelphia. That brings Philadelphia. Philadelphia made some very interesting moves. Their moves are not. They made some very solid signings. Nothing spectacular, but they got people to play certain positions on that football team. And it was very different from the way they attacked free agency a couple of years ago by getting all these big name people and put them in and expected to go to the championship with very little coaching. So now I think they're trying to do it different, get some solid players in here and buy into a system, and we'll see what happens in Philadelphia, because we know that there's talent there in that football team. There's scary talent in that football team, and if they can turn the corner, they can turn the corner very quickly. Green Bay they lost a vital weapon. Minnesota's beautiful by taking their vital weapon away, as well as adding that weapon to their football team. So Minnesota did a great job by getting Jennings. Green Bay better get a running back. I didn't believe in Steven Jackson anyway. I think he's kind of old or whatever. But Ahmad Bradshaw or somebody needs to go to Green Bay. Chicago, Detroit. Reggie Bush to Detroit is very interesting, something to watch. Also, that offense was look at their points. Points for 372. That's not that great, but it was kind of good. But the Detroit offense is very, very, very dangerous with him involved. Atlanta, Turner, Jackson's a slight upgrade, but I don't see them using him any other way than how they use Turner, especially with Jacquizz Rodgers. Carolina, New Orleans, Tampa Bay did a great job. The safeties are incredible. San Francisco, and I'm not going to talk about them. Seattle, I'm not going to talk about them either. They did too well of a job. And St. Louis Rams actually improved also. And 7-8, they're not too much worse than us. Arizona's in trouble. All right, that is the free agent wind up. Let me catch up with you guys. Dan Connor is not a bad player. He only helps the Giants. Well, I think Dan Connor might fit with what the Giants are doing. I really do. I don't think Dan Connor is that good of a player. I don't think he's that bad of a player either. I think he's a good, just a good average depth on your lineup. I would love to see us pick up Ed Reed. No, we don't have any Ed Reed money. Jennings better hope AP can throw as well. You know what, Sluger? I think personally, I think Cassell is a good bus driver. Matt Cassell is a good bus driver, quarterback, and I think his arm is much better than Ponder. And aren't they about the same age anyway? Ain't Ponder like 37 years old? But seriously, I think Castle might take over that starting quarterback position. You know, if something happened to Ponder and he goes out there and be able and is able to throw up maybe a 300-yard game, and they're like, whoa, this is a better arm than this guy. You know what I'm saying? We can open up the running lanes for AD a little bit more with this guy. So we'll see what happens in Minnesota. But like I said, very interesting, very interesting. I have a bad feeling the Cowboys are going to keep Felix. I've been thinking the same thing in JTK 1000. I've been thinking the same thing because we do need a running back. And the more I look at the running backs that are available, the more I'm thinking, wow, Felix might be one of the best of the crew. You know what I'm saying? But I can't subscribe to that, man. Felix was at the profile pic of my Facebook page for a long time. Me and Felix there, so I'm a big Felix fan. But I think we've got to move on. I'm really afraid of that too. Marcus Palmer says, I have a gut feeling that Harvin will not have the chance to be as big of a weapon because of how much they have to pay him. If he gets hurt, it will cripple the Seahawks. Marcus, I don't know. I don't think will cripple the Seahawks because the Seahawks are in an interesting situation right now, which very rarely NFL teams find themselves in. They have a quarterback who they don't have to pay that much money to, and he's going to be a quarterback for them for a good minute. So they can use that money and they can make a mistake on Harvin or on Averill or something like that and not hurt them as bad as teams that are paying high salaries to certain players in that position. And most of their players are young, so their contracts are starting to come up also. So maybe they won't be cash strapped, but I think Harvin is just like a super weapon for them to be able to deploy him at certain times of the football game when you're trying to breathing heavy, trying to stop Skittles. Then Harvin goes around the outside and takes off for 60 yards for a touchdown. So it's a very dangerous matchup, putting Harvin, and especially with a smart quarterback like Russell Wilson that is more interested in just getting the player the ball and letting them do something with it. So, Harvin to Seattle is very scary. Let's see. Tashiro said, Tyron played okay. Sean Lee is always injured. DeMarco Murray, same as Lee. Mo is unproven at this point. So our draft has been average at best. I will get into that also about how our draft has been. It's hard. It's easy to say, oh, we've got these great players for the draft that we drafted in the past 3 years. But that's kind of the window you give players. You know, if they have any kind of decent value, you're going to keep them on your team for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So, and then after those few years, you'll see what you have. So, we're in that stage right now, especially when we have to pay him. We're going to have to pay Sean Lee, and we're going to have to pay him what he's worth. But then we're going to have to take into consideration that he hasn't been that healthy. Same way with Bruce Carter, but Bruce is pretty far away. But DeMarco Murray's kind of close. Dez Bryant's very close. So we'll see when it's time to re-up on these contracts of how good the draft was. As soon as we get rid of it. Do you think we are overpaying for Spencer? Oh, we're definitely overpaying for Spencer. But I think, as I said at the beginning of the thing, it might be the best thing for us right now. I love Sean Lee. He can't keep himself on the field. I have his jersey. I love him. All right, guys. All right, looks like we have people here and everybody's good and attentive. We're going to go to one site. I'm going to start talking about the salary cap. It's about to happen. It's about to go down right now. All right. I want to go over to a site that I found. You know, Roto World has the salary cap information, Sport Track, both of those. But the site I liked the most was called Over the Cap. Divisional.com. And it's a smaller site, but it seems like the guy who runs it, who I'm going to probably try to get on the show one day so he can explain all this stuff to us, more intensely. But I'm just going to go over it roughly with all of you, because we don't know much about the cap. But we can look at these numbers and compare these numbers with what's going on with other teams in the NFL, and kind of get an impression of where we are with the salary cap and what we can do. Now, the reason why I was interested in looking at this stuff is mainly because of the restructures. And if you're like me and you saw us with 30, how much was it? 20 million, 20 plus million over the cap that we were before free agency and before the restructures. And then we restructure. And then all of a sudden we're under the cap. And I'm like, and I've expressed that to you before. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, being recouped there in a short period of time. If we can do it, why can't all the other teams do it too and go out and get the number one free agent every year? You know what I'm saying? Why is that just an option for us and not an option for anyone else? Are we actually doing something we're not supposed to do, and it's actually going to hurt us in the future, and other teams are not willing to make that kind of a commitment? So all of that pushed me into finding these numbers to find out what's going on with our salary cap. Now let's look into these numbers. And then when we look into numbers, we're going to go to some articles of some people that know what these numbers mean and could probably explain them better for us. All right, let me make it big for you. Take myself out of here. All right, bye-bye, y'all. Take Shango Live off. All right, we have here Romo. Right now, Romo's cap number is 16.8. And that is absolutely huge. I don't expect us to go, if we go in the season with his cap number still at 16.8, we're probably not going to sign Tony Romo. I mean, it's just that simple. If he goes into the season and we start paying him this much, and then he starts getting interest or knowing that he can get a whole lot of money from other teams or whatever, I think we're going to lose Tony Romo, and I think we're not going to be able to retain him. So if we're interested in keeping Tony Romo as our quarterback, then the restructure, the re-signing needs to happen pretty quickly. And the second thing about that re-signing, we know that this team with Tony Romo isn't good enough. We know that. I mean, sometimes we'll try to make excuse. We are great at making excuses. This year, the main excuse I'm seeing out there with everybody, especially on ESPN, is the injuries. We had so many injuries or whatever. But if we remember, the injuries came, and we were bad. I mean, the injury we were bad before the injuries came. Rather, I think like 2-3 before Sean Lee got hurt or something like that. So I can't just say, if everybody's healthy, we're going to be great, because everybody was healthy at a point, and we were not doing that well. So we know that this football team isn't good enough to win as is with Tony Romo. If he does not come down off that cap figure and re-sign and make that cap figure come down so we can get more help on the offensive line and things of that sort, then I don't see that as a winning formula. I don't see it as a winning formula. So this I expect to come down. Next is the cap number for Nnamdi Spencer is at 10.6. Now these numbers are not 100%, everybody. This is the website. None of these websites have the 100% accurate numbers that with the Cowboys, but this is probably as close as we can get to what is actually going on. But Nnamdi Spencer 10.6. Now, again, if we re-sign Anthony Spencer now and knock that cap number down to 600K, like other people that we will see in a minute, then we'll have a tremendous amount of cap space this year to bring in someone to help out. The problem is everybody is pretty much gone now. And this coming week, everybody probably will be gone. Now, later on, before the season starts, when people cut people, then we'll be able to get other people at a bargain that are trying to rejuvenate their careers, like Ernie Sims and Pepera and what was his name? Frampton, players like that. But as of now, that Tony Romo and Anthony Spencer both together are eating up a ton of the salary cap. Next, we have Doug Free. Now, people have talked to me over and over and over and over and over. What do you think we're going to do it? Big Joe the Poet asked me what we're going to do. Are we going to use him, Anthony Spencer, or are we going to use him to bait someone to pick up someone? I don't know. I don't know what we're using him for. I think we're going to end up having to keep him and just play him. I don't think we're going to pay him yet. I think we're going to ride out the salary, the cap situation with him, and then make a decision on him next year if we don't get an offer for him. But next we have Doug Free. Now I've got so many tweets and so many comments on why. Let me show my face on this because you have to see the expression. Why is Doug Free still on this football team? I've heard that over and over and over and over and over and over. And if you look, check out the cap savings right there. 0. And the dead money on Doug Free, 10 mil. So basically, if we cut Doug Free, I think, and Mickey Spagnola had an article, I think it's like $1 million. We may save $1 million. And that's all. It's from 0, from saving nothing to saving $1 million. So think about that. If you cut Doug Free and you just save $1 million, you have no one else to play that tackle position unless you like Parnell, and I don't really think Parnell is ready for prime time yet. But there will be no one else to play left tackle or right tackle. So then we'd have to find someone, and with our cap the way it is, we won't be able to pay over that $1 million that we saved for a new tackle. And if you saw, when we get down to McKenzie and Living's contract, you'll see what we paid for a couple of linemen last year that wasn't, that great. Wasn't that much better than Free, if better than Free at all. So that is the reason why we're keeping Free. And I guess we're gonna wait and we're gonna see what happens in the draft. If one of these tackles falls, which the top 3, I doubt very seriously one of them will fall at this point, or what we'll be able to do in free agency. If somebody cuts a tackle that we feel is better than Doug Free, I'm sure they'll cut Doug Free and bring the other guy in. But as of now, Doug Free is our best option. Sad, huh? Whew. But he can be cut. That's the good thing. He can be cut, and we will be able to save a little. We will be able to at least break even or save $1 million. But then replacing him and having someone to protect Tony Romo. I mean, it's one thing that our line is as bad as it is, but we can't be going out and making it even worse. It's basically in salary cap hell. Yeah. Yes, Sluger. Yeah, Doug Free is insurance because they aren't completely sold on Parnell and also don't want to tip their hand on what they'll be looking for in the draft. Yeah, exactly. But I just think that maybe we can get a tackle in the second half or whatever. A second round or whatever. But I think those 3 first round studs, I think all of those guys are going to be gone. Okay, next we have Demarcus Ware's contract. Now this is when the interesting stuff happens. This is when this is what got me to thinking, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's what's supposed to be going on. Let's look closely at Demarcus Ware's salaries. Okay, it looks like here he has been restructured every year, because this year he got restructured and he's only being paid $840K base salary. I don't know how right that is. For a person who makes so much money, I don't know how right that is. I do feel though it's right with a player of Demarcus Ware, if he's not hurt, if he doesn't, sustain injury in the next few years or whatever. But if he's gonna play for the next like 3 years, then this is just absolutely brilliant, But we don't know how long we're gonna have Ware. We don't know, and to be honest with you, he got a lot of punishment last year. This coming year, he's gonna have his hand in the ground. He's gonna take contact every single play, and I'm not sure how much he can hold up. In at that defensive end position, no one knows. So to restructure him and to push that money to future years is kind of a gamble. It's kind of a gamble. You're gambling on the fact that Demarcus Ware is still going to give us at least 3 years of solid play. So hopefully it can happen. I can see it happening, but I can also see the way the decline happened, and the last time that we actually saw Demarcus Ware, how he actually looked, we don't know. From a business point of view, we don't know. But this is one of the restructures that happened that pushed money, and you can see the dead money right now this year is at 15.8. And what dead money is the money that still has to be paid out. It's basically the bonus money. So it's the bonus money that still has to be paid out, and it can come out in one lump sum, or it can be spread out in 2 years from the CBA if it is designated a June 1st cut. If a person is designated a June 1st cut, then a third can be taken out this year, and then the remainder can be taken out the following year. But still, that money comes off the salary cap in 1 year or the other. So this is the Ware's contract. Doesn't bother me too much, but Ware has to be a factor for the next few years. Now, next, look at Brandon Carr. This is the scariest contract I've ever seen in my life, guys. Check this out. He was restructured this year. So that $50 million contract that he signed, this year his base salary is $715K. I just don't know how right that is. Now I'm nowhere near. I'm just learning stuff about the training camp, about the salary cap. But this just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't. It seems completely wrong for a player making that much money to be getting that much. But again, if Brandon Carr plays solid football for us, 14, 15, and 2016, of course, and hopefully get up to 2017, then it's a brilliant contract. And with Brandon Carr, I think it can happen. However, look at the cap numbers. Now, this money's going to have to be paid unless we cut him in the last year. It's 12.2 for 2014, 12.7 for 2015, 13.8 for 2016, and 12.7 for 2017. That is a whole lot of money for one cornerback. That is a whole lot of money for a cornerback. And this money is going to be paid either in bonus money or whatever. But if you see this year, the dead money is $22 million. So nothing can or should be done to Brandon Carr, and hopefully he can play well and play out this contract. So again, a big contract, hugely back-ended, but I think we'll be okay because of the player. Jason Witten, I'm not even going to go into his because he has a very salary cap friendly contract. Now, here's when the trouble starts. Jay Ratliff was one of the I know. Carr. I know NJTK Carr's contract is insane. Um, Jay Ratliff is the most interesting one because Jay hasn't done much in the last couple of years. I love Jay Ratliff. He's a brilliant player. He's a definite difference maker when he's out there on the field, but he's been hurt. And we don't know if he's going to be able to pick himself back up to that previous form. And because if he does, wow, it's great for us on the football field. But we're not sure that he'll be able to do that. Well, we extended him, and we knocked his salary down to $1.3 million for a base salary. And on the dead money on Rat is $10 million. So basically, if we cut Rat right now, it's the same situation at free, but add $5 million on the cap, because it's like we're like, like when you're underneath your mortgage, we're underneath this contract for like $5,900,000, so really $6 million. We're underneath this contract, so you can't trade him right now. You can't cut him right now because that player will be completely taken away, and all the money for that player, and you have to replace him with a player, along with taking $6 million off your cap this year and next year. So Jay Ratliff will not be cut this year at all, but maybe next year. So this is one contract, and all this money. I mean, look at this. He's gonna have to be cut. He's gonna have to be cut. There's no way. You see this right here? There's no way Jay Ratliff can make $8.2 million. $9.7 million in 2015, $8.2 million in 2016, and if Jay Ratliff is playing in 2017, oh my goodness, we got a freaking value or whatever. But I don't know who thinks that he's going to be playing 5 years from now. I don't know, but we have to somehow get caught up on his contract to where when we're able to cut him, it either will not cost us any money or we'll be able to recoup enough money to pay for somebody else. This is one of the contracts that could really hurt us. Another one, Miles is in Morris is in his rookie contract. Is good. Miles Austin, you see his. If we cut, a lot of people are like, why don't we cut Miles Austin? Why don't we cut Miles Austin? Well, we restructured Miles Austin. He's $840K right now. So that means we pushed a lot of money to bonus money. So right now, cap savings is $7 million under. So we're underneath his contract also. If we, again, same concept. If we lose Miles, we would lose all the money that we're paying for Miles right now, plus $7 million. So you'll take that money off the cap, and we'll have to find a player, to replace Miles. So basically, Miles cannot be cut either. So and he's going to have to be paid. Look at him in 2014. Miles is making $8.2 million. 2015, 9.6, 12.5 in 2016. This is insane amount of money. An insane amount of money, and they have area here where they can push it to bonus money. But again, once you push it to bonus money, it turns into dead money. If you have to cut the player, that means the player has to play for you at a high level, and we're not sure what we're going to get from Miles in the future. He's another question mark. So that is another bad contract that could hurt us. Wow. Tyron Smith is he's still in his rookie contract with Decent. Dez Bryant, still one. All right, here we go, Mr. Scandrick. I don't know if Scandrick. I think Scandrick was restructured. It looks like it here with $715K. But again, with Scandrick's contract, why is Scandrick still on the team? Why we don't trade Scandrick? Why we can't cut Scandrick? Reason why we can't, right there, $5 million underneath his contract. Therefore, again, if we cut Scandrick, then we would have to we would lose all the money that we're paying for Scandrick. It would stay on the cap, and then we'd have to find a player. And $5 million also would be taken away from the cap, and we'd have to find a player to take up for him. So again, another player we cannot cut or trade. right there, Orlando Scandrick. And again, in the future, 2014, 2015, 2016, these cap numbers: 5.6 for Scandrick, insane; 7.41 for Scandrick, insane; 6.5 for Scandrick, insane. And of course, that money can be pushed into bonus money, but when you push it into bonus money, it becomes dead money, and then you can't cut them. Plain and simple. I had to bring my face back in. Plain and simple. Can't cut them. All right, let's see if there's any more bad contracts. I think that might be all. But the Scandrick, Spears is gone. Hatcher's on a great contract. Now here's what I'm talking about Tony Romo. I've got 5 more minutes. I'm gonna try to wrap this all up in 5 minutes. But Nate Livens and McKenzie, look at their contracts, and you see we're underneath both of them. Can't cut either one. $2 million underneath Livens' contract, and $2.2 million under McKenzie's contract. Now look at Livens, and look what we did last year. $250. So he's making $1.7 million this year, and the dead money here is 4.5. So our cap savings, again, we would lose all that money if we cut him right now, and we would still have to lose $2 million on top of that, and then we'd have to find another player to replace Livings. So this is what I'm talking about Tony Romo and him restructuring his contract. We're going to need to get a significant player in. We're going to need a significant amount of money. Last year, we went playing around in free agency with offensive line, and we got Livings and McKenzie for a lot of money. Let's look at McKenzie's contract because it's similar. He took his bonus money this year, $715K, and then the cap number next year for him is going to be 3.7, and the year after that is going to be 4.2 for McKenzie. And right now we're underneath his contract, so you can't get that good of players in free agency for a little amount of money. You just can't do it. I mean, we paid a lot of money for these two linemen, and we saw what we got. So when you go out spending money, let me show my face on this because this is real talk here. Let me go make myself big. Put my name so you know who said it. When you go out trying to get too much money, players and free agency, you overspend. Overspend. An average player, when he hits the market, he's worth as much as an above average player. And you're just hoping you can get that average player and he works better than average inside your system. But it is not the ideal way to build a football team. And now, with us, if you want to look back at our draft picks, we've done very poorly with the draft. The 2009 draft, oh my goodness. And I think we only have like 4 players from, 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009 drafts. I think it's 4, maybe 3. But I'm pretty sure it's 4. That's a very alarming because that's a big group of players that are not with our football team. We've only got rookies from the last few years. So we've got to fill all those spots with undrafted free agents from around the league that we pick up like we did with Sims and Frampton and Pepper and all those guys. We've got to do it that way again. And I'm telling you, it doesn't seem to me like that's a road to success. I've never seen an NFL football team have success by going and picking through what other teams don't want and getting those guys for a value and then going on the football field and winning. I just don't see that as a winning formula. So that is That is the problem we're addressed with. I'm gonna wrap it. I'm wrapping up right now, but that is the problem we're addressed with. That's the problems that's facing us when we have Romo's contract to re-sign. We've got to figure out, can we afford this quarterback? We can't. We got to figure out, is it smart to pay for this quarterback when we know that the team is not good enough to support this quarterback at the present state? Does that seem like a good way to spend your money? Or is it a time right now where he has high value to get what we can from him and start taking some relief from this cap and start putting together a football team for tomorrow? Because the way this cap and the way these contracts keep pushing this money into tomorrow and pushing this money into tomorrow, it really hurts our tomorrow. It really hurts us not being able to retain players like Sean Lee and Dez, who's going to want a Calvin Johnson contract. There's a lot of people we're going to have to pay. So we could draft a quarterback, go that route, and end up like San Francisco and Seattle next year, where you have a young rookie quarterback that's not making that much money, and you can use the money to get yourself out of cap problems, or you can use that money to go get top players like they're getting now to fill in the gaps or whatever. That's the only way. What San Francisco and Seattle are doing is the only way I see that you should attack free agency. If you see players out there that can give your team value in certain places after your team is put together, then it is beautiful. You know, you get that extra safety to go on top of your defense, or you get that extra defensive end that's going to get more pressure, or you get that wide receiver that's going to make first down. When you get that little something, you know, sometimes you got to pay a little bit more for that little something that is going to take you over the top. You know, we did it with Deion Sanders when we got Deion Sanders. That little something we overpaid for, but it put us over the top to get the championship. I think that is good. I think that is good for free agency, and that's it. Other than that, no. You could end up like, again, as I say, the Philadelphia Eagles, who went out there paying money and just brought a whole bunch of stars together, thinking that it's going to work because we paid all this money to these guys. But it's not. It's not. So again, that's what we're facing. I'm going to make a video this week about this stuff, and I'm going to present that question. Should we let Romo just play out the end of his contract and walk? Should we try to trade him and get a first rounder this year and try to invest in one of these quarterbacks in the next coming year, this year or next year of the draft, especially next year, because it should be a bigger quarterback year than this year. But is it time to invest in that new quarterback? Is it time to do that? And none of this has anything to do with Tony Romo's play. I would. There's an article. I didn't get to the article. There's one article about Bill Parcells saying we're in trouble, and there's another article said the Colts were in the same predicament that we're in right now with all this dead money. And the Irsay and Parcells said it works when you have that lynch period quarterback. And let me bring it up. Hold on, I got 7 minutes. Hold on, because it's very interesting. Bill Parcells, why the Dallas Cowboys could be headed for salary cap problems down the road. Thank you, John Machota from DallasNews.com. He says, Polian says, it only works if the linchpin, the quarterback, plays at a high level through all of his career, Polian said. If you have a drop-off, as we did with Peyton Manning when he got hurt, then you can't handle it. Then that theory doesn't work. And Parcells added to it that he doesn't think that this type of cap management the Cowboys doing works long-term. You need that linchpin, that lead singer, that you need some guys in the choir too, Parcells said. You need guys playing the instruments as well. If you got 43 of them making 20% of the money, I think there's a problem down the road. And that's kind of what we're doing. And what the Colts did, they had to get rid of it. They had to get rid of all that stuff. They had to get rid of that quarterback, Peyton Manning, who is clearly better than Tony Romo or whatever. So it has nothing to do with how good Tony Romo, or Tony Romo's a choker, he needs to get away from here. It has to do with the salary cap and how other people are predicting, that this isn't a good move. You go to the cap space things and you look at the team contracts, and you'll see that the Cowboys are at the bottom of that, above the Oakland Raiders. That we're in worse cap shape than anyone. So we'll see what happens. And then I have to leave with a bit of sunshine, because Mickey Spagnola. When you need some sunshine, if you need some sunshine, there's two places to go. If you need some sunshine, one is DallasCowboys.com. Look for Mickey Spagnola. And number two is if you go to Cowboy Zone. There's a lot of sunshine over there. But he said that he freaked out over the salary cap issues before, back in the, and they were assuring him with the Cowboys it's not really a problem. But I think it was a problem. I think it led to our 5-11 teams when we were paying our stars from the Super Bowl. But that's understandable, because we're paying stars that won us a Super Bowl. When we're paying stars that didn't win us a Super Bowl, it's kind of a problem. The New York Giants are in cap hell like us, but they're playing people that won the Super Bowl. So that's a little different. So he says that Stephen Jones just picked with him and said, "Are you losing your mind now?" He said, "No, I'm cool." So he's saying basically that everything is going to be okay. That he's seen these situations before. The Cowboys always figure a way to get out of it. Blah blah blah. And I see that too. But I also see as we're getting our salary cap down, I see talent being taken away from the Cowboys. And that's trouble. All right, guys. I will be signing off now. As I said, there will be a video probably Wednesday about the salary cap stuff and a more clear and concise package, and send it out there to you. But this is what I've been working on for the past week, and I will continue. And if anyone has any feedback on how to do this salary cap, or how we can get past the salary cap or whatever, just let me know, and I'll bring it on the show. But that's where we are in the salary cap, and that's why we don't have any money. All right, guys. Holla at you later. Thanks for watching. Peace out.